Hey, Good Guys crew. This is Rich Stapf up in Port Townsend, Washington. We're up in the northwest corner of Washington State. We're putting together a little video here for the Hot Rod of the Year competition. My 32 Roadster here was built 20 years ago. It's got 34,000 miles on it. I also wanted to pay tribute to my good friend Dave Lane, who built this car. The significance of this car is that this was the first car that Dave commissioned, or was commissioned to Dave when he became a full-time hot rod builder. And that was about 20 years ago. This car was originally built for a gentleman by the name of John Oakes out of Virginia. So let's get right into it, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. Of course, it's been to many Good Guys events over its last 20 years. I've owned the car for 10. My wife and I have driven back and forth to California, been to the West Coast Nationals in Pleasanton a bunch with this car. I would get in and drive it across the United States tomorrow, and really a testament to the way Dave Lane builds hot rods, which has not changed at all and only gotten better over the last 20 years. Dave started with a Cornhusker perimeter frame, which he highly modified by flattening out the front cross member to get the car sitting nice and low, and building a new rear cross member for the car also. The rear end is buggy sprung transverse leaf. It's got a Posey leaf spring in the rear, and it's centered up with Pete and Jake ladder bars. Front suspension is a Super Bell 4-inch dropped axle from Pete and Jake's. Front hairpins are SoCal Speed Shop hairpins and bat wings. And SoCal also provided the front hidden disc brakes with Buick drum covers. Buick drum covers front and rear have both been chromed. Our wheel tire setup that we're currently running in the car is a set of real Rotters wheels. The fronts are kidney beans. The rears are Sprints, the fronts being a 145 15 Michelin tire on a 15 by 4.5 inch rim. The rear is 16 by 10 real Rotters wheels with 1116 Coker reproduction dirt track tires in the rear. The engine is a crate engine from GM Performance Parts. It's their 385 fast burn 350. You can see we're running full length Sanderson headers, and I've been told that horsepower rating is up around 400 with that full length header. Probably the neatest thing about the engine is the custom air cleaner that Dave made for the original owner, which is made to look like the Prudhomme Black Dragster air cleaner. There's a little bit of a story about me actually getting that air cleaner back with the car. I didn't get it when I bought the car 10 years ago from Larry Henderson out of Ohio, but just this last summer, our friend Jerry Sanders got that air cleaner back to me. It's got a Walker radiator, and as you can see, Dave built a custom fan shroud, as he does with all of his cars. I don't think Dave's ever put an electric fan on a car. In this car, going through Redding, California at 100, when it's 110 degrees outside, it won't go past 200 on the temperature gauge. Car runs cool, and again, a testament to just the way Dave Lane builds hot rods. Behind the GM Performance Parts Fast Burn 350 is a TPI 700R4 automatic transmission shifted by a Locar shifter. The body on this car is just a Brookville steel reproduction body, but again, Dave puts his modifications to it and just does subtle things here and there to tighten up the gaps and make the body lines flow real nice. An example of that is this front cowl body line that was cut apart and reshaped so that it flowed really nice with the hood. In the rear, Dave high cut the rear frame to bring the gas tank up nice and tight to the back of the body, and then, as Dave does with all of his high boys, he builds these body corners to kind of take that gap away between the body and the frame and close that in and finish it off real nice. I don't think I've seen a Highboy 32 that Dave has built that he hasn't made those corners. Inside, we've got actually the second upholstery job that this car has had. The first one, literally, we just wore it out, and so we reupholstered it a few years back. We've got a SoCal 5-gauge panel with Stuart Warner gauges. As you can see, the speedometer there reads 34,000 miles. We put a lot of miles in this car, a lot of real trouble-free miles. Had a lot of fun with it. We've got a Borgeson steering column drop, steering column with a Lobeck steering wheel. Dave cut the stock windshield down, chopped it 3 inches, and then something Dave does on his Highboys is he just splits this stanchion and leans that windshield back just a little bit. Doesn't go too far, but just enough to make the whole car flow real nice. The paint is a DuPont base coat clear coat, and the color is BMW Emola Red. I grew up here in Port Townsend, Washington. About a half a mile out from my house is a place that's kind of near and dear to me, where we went 30 some years ago in the 80s, and even before that, but we called it the Quarter Mile. It used to have a start and a finish line painted on the road. It doesn't anymore, and we won't do that, but we're gonna go out there and we're gonna run the car through the Quarter Mile. So we're gonna go have some fun with this thing.